Hey, what's up, guys? Milo here. It's been a while since I put out a tutorial. I've been busy, but today I want to talk about JavaScript and how I switched from the usual Krpano like syntax to JavaScript because it's much easier to understand. Um, I slowly converted all our codes to JavaScript, and I'm here to talk about what I learned. So, okay, what I plan to talk about. Uh, yeah, this is the outline for today, like how to access the Krpano JavaScript object. Autorun, like when you create an action, you can either set autorun as preinit on start, onload, and what these does, like how to get variables, how to set, how to call actions or custom actions, the arguments you pass to an action, how to get them, init vars, the like variables you want to initiate for a certain project and how to get them, and we'll end up with like an example how to put it all together. So let's start. We'll begin with like the usual. You have a panorama. What's this? This is 6K by 3K. And then you open up Krpano tools, run them on vtour. So I'm gonna drag this to there to generate the vtour. Uh, and then we'll open the generated code in whatever text editor you prefer. But first, I think we'll add some hotspots. Okay, let's add some hotspots here. Going back here, standing here, maybe a bit here. Okay, goes there, goes there. Okay, and then I'll just save it. Close. I'll open the generated XML. I'll use Sublime. I still prefer Sublime over VS Code. Just got so used to it. And a lot of people use VS Code. Anyway, let's begin. So these are the generated files. Um, for clarity, I'll just maybe move some of this so it's easier to read. Uh, First thing I do when like developing is add consolelog true, which would allow you to do a trace or open show some extra stuff when you're debugging. I'm gonna run this tour testing server, and here's our tour. Hit F12. I'm using Google Chrome, so if you didn't enable it, you won't see this. So I'll try to disable it here. False. So that enables it. I'm just gonna close close this. Okay, so where do we start? So syntax. Uh, let's begin with, where's my outline? I lost it. Sorry. Outline. Okay. So yeah, how to access the Krpano object. So let's begin. The way to do an action, the usual is like this, right? Like the XML way, action name, and then this gets called whenever you want to call it, and you do a trace, like hello world. We're gonna convert this to a JavaScript action, and it's gonna look like this. you're gonna add type JavaScript. And then here, we'll add a C data chunk or section. If you look it up, it basically just ignores anything that could ruin the XML format and think it's malformed. So we need to add this here. Okay, I did something wrong. C data. That okay. So this is it. This is the from here on, and you can write JavaScript here. So console.log hello world. Okay, so let's test this first. Let's call this first. Let's try to run this. So we do auto. Well, I also already mentioned it. Auto run preinit. So if you do auto run preinit, this is gonna get called. Let's see the documentation. Well, I had it copied here somewhere. I'm not sure it is in the documentation. I mean site. Preinit. Run this action at initialization before any other event or action. So will only be called once. So first let's try the Krpano usual, like written in XML. This should get called if I do a refresh here, so it didn't work. Oh, because I need to do a console log through. So there it is. You see the hello world. Now we're gonna try to call the JavaScript one, same name, and it is a console log. Did that work? Because I didn't have preinit. Yeah, I need to have preinit here. There it is. Yeah, so for console log to show, you don't, if you're using JavaScript, you don't actually need to set this to true. So I don't know why. So this will still work, but it won't work for trace. So if you're, let's say, calling this is how to do like debugging stuff when you're using the usual XML code. But you can still call that even if you're using JavaScript. But okay, I'll show that later. Sorry if I'm confusing you. We're still at how to access Krpano object. So to do that, you just do like this. I mean, this will show the object. I can assign it to a variable. Well, not really, because it's already an object. So from here on, you can see all the properties of the Krpano object. You can see I believe you can see the scene. Where is scene? Here. Count. We have 2 scenes. You can get the current XML, like the current being viewed, which is 01 living room. So this one. If I switch, oh no, because we won't be able to see that. So anyway, as you can see, we are able to access the object if we do this. According to the documentation, preinit only gets called once. So what if we want to call a JavaScript action every time a scene gets loaded? And that's to do that, we'll do onload. says here, same as preinit, but will be called every time again when a new pano gets loaded. So let's create a new one. Onload. Change this to onload. And call it action onload. Refresh. So I don't know why it got called 3 times, but let's say I click this, it will get called. And if we look at XML here, it says 01 living room because this is the current being viewed. If I click here, it gets loaded again. And this time that would be the next one. So how do you do that? Well, you can assign it to a variable. Let's say let current scene equals krpano.xml.scene. And then we can do a consolelog or alert. We can also do alert and just show that. Toot null. Okay. I don't know why it gets called before any scenes, but it seems to do that. So from here onwards, it will work. So yeah, it's useful if you want to do something like every time you load a new panorama and just get the current scene. Okay, what else? Let me go back to my outline. So onstart gets so we're here. I already showed you preinit onload. So preinit gets called once. So okay, in order to understand this, let's do some console logs. Preinit and then just gonna do onload. And let's do one onstart just to see how everything works. Action name, action onstart. I'm gonna call this action preinit. Onstart. So onstart is run this action on startup directly after an onstart event. Okay, let's see. Refresh. So preinit is run, onstart happens, onload. So I think initially it runs, onload runs how many scenes you have, but I'm not sure. But from here on, I believe it's just onload. Onload. So maybe, I think they're similar, preinit and onstart. But how I use preinit is I could like create functions that I call over and over and put it in preinit. I can show you that later. Okay, let's go back to our outline. Krpano get. Okay, I think I already showed you that. But here, so onload, the way we used to get stuff in the XML world of Krpano is we do this get. This actually returns the current scene. So you can still use get via this syntax. Krpano.get. And then everything here is in quotes. So if I do xml.scene, this will return. This is just calling this. So let's try. Let current scene. And then let's do alert, I guess. Equal. So this should show an alert with the current scene. Doop. So it works. It's the same as doing this. current scene 2. Let's try to alert this one. So depends on you how I guess you want to use it. So yep. Okay, so that's how you use get. So before, if you wanted to get a value in the scene, let's say you want to get thumb URL, you would do this scene, and then like it's either this one, I mean the actual name, then thumb URL, or if you wanted to get the thumb URL of the current scene, you do this. So in JavaScript, we could do, let's try it. We just basically copy this and put it in quotes, and it will work. This will return thumb URL of scene 1 or scene 0. See? What else? But what if you wanted that every time on a scene gets loaded, you want to show the thumb URL? Then this will be xml.scene. xml.scene. But with get, right? And at some point, Krpano allows in asterisk like this. So I think, I'm sorry, I think this doesn't work. It has to be an asterisk here because this is an equivalent to a get. You understand why everyone wants to switch to JavaScript if you're a programmer, because this is so confusing. This syntax. So if we do this, it will get the current XML scene and use it here and then show you the thumb URL. So this will work too, I believe. Yeah, so it still works. But what if, so we can combine JavaScript and this. So because this is a string, we can append some values. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do current scene, which is XML krpano.xml.scene. This will output the current scene. So instead of doing this, we can also append it like here, plus plus. And then that would be the same. But this is more like the JavaScript way. Okay, so yeah, that's how scene get works. I mean, it's the old, if you had a get from the old code, you just put them here in quotes. That's it. Okay, let's proceed to set. How to use set. So set works the same way as the old set. Like if you wanted to set the thumb URL, you do this. Comma, and then the value goes here. As an example, let's try to set on preinit, because it's only gets called once. We're gonna try to set a value to the scenes. Let's call it whatever. So scene. So we have two scenes. This one. And whatever value is hello. And for the second scene, value is world. So, oops. Okay. So on preinit, we set a value, whatever. I mean, it's the same as like doing this. Hello world. It's like if you did it in XML, it would be like this. But if you did it like programmatically, it would be like this. So to which, how do we know that this was set? So every time a new panorama loads, we'll try to get that. So let whatever Krpano scene again asterisk xml.scene and then get whatever, and then we do a console log whatever equals whatever. Refresh. Value goes here. Okay, so okay, I messed up. Let's see. What did I do wrong here? Heading through. Whatever that world scene gets it. Oh, let me just pause and figure out what happened. Okay, I'm stupid. Well, one, I did not comment this out. And this should be seen. I got confused. Yeah, it's like that. Yes, wrong syntax. So this should set the whatever on this one sets it here, and this gets whatever is the kind of value of whatever on whatever scene we're currently at. So yeah, initially it's null. So from here on, it gets that value. So that's what set does. Can set whatever you want, like in a scene, a hotspot. Okay. Call. What does call do? Let's create an action that we're gonna call that doesn't have autorun. Let's say action new, and then autorun is blank. So just to make sure it doesn't get called anywhere, let's do this. So we shouldn't see any XXXX in the console. No XXX doesn't get called anywhere. Okay. How do we call this? Let's say on an action onload, we can do krpano.call action new. Again in quotes. Toot. So now it gets called. So how about arguments? Parameters. So let's say this will also work. Having parentheses, it's the same. I'll show you. Still works. Boop, 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 boop. But since this is a function, we should be able to pass parameters, right? So what if we pass 2 strings or 3? Let's say param1, param2, param3. Well, maybe this should be of. So instead of, well, okay, that will work. How do we get that? So this is that part here, args. So to get that, you have an object here called args that you can access. And it's an array. So it's kind of different from like the usual JavaScript. Anyway, arg0 is the name of the action, and then parameter 1 is, I mean, first parameter is this one, second, third. So let's say you want something that is a variable or changes. I'm just gonna pass the current scene here. So let current scene krpano.xml.scene and I'm gonna pass it as the first parameter. And I just want to make sure that, like, it changes. So yeah, null. So as you can see, on based on whatever scene you are in, that is what's being passed. So this passes the living room, bedroom. So here, if you do let current, name of action, kind of useless. We won't need that, but yeah, that's it. Args1 would be current scene. This would be parameter 2 and parameter 3. 2 and 3. So if we do a console log of current scene, it will just output the value that was passed to this action. There it is. Yeah. Okay, what else? I'm going back to my outline. Init vars. What's this? Okay. Yeah, so when you, on the HTML, you can pass some variables as what you call init vars. So here, you can put init vars. And then, property and value. Boolean. Me, I use it as like Boolean values for like enabling or disabling a feature. Because our tours have grown so big, like we're reusing components, and then we're just like first, let's say we have a new client and they just want to turn on a feature. Our code is kind of like common for all the clients, and we just turn on and off features. So maybe let's say feature one is true, and in order to get the value of this, you can do a console log here. You just basically call that Krpano dot feature one, and it will say true or false. So preinit true, and it could be false. See? Okay, so yeah. What else? Putting it all together. Okay. Well, I think I need to show first, like, before we do like an exercise of putting it all together. I want to show like how do you loop through. I think the most common thing that I keep reusing is just looping through scenes. So why would you do that? Let's say you wanted to create a sidebar and just list all the scenes on the sidebar, and without putting everything on the XML, you can just loop through them and do it via code. So let's say loop through scenes, and I'm gonna try to call this on init. I'm gonna call it Krpano.call. This preinit is gonna loop through the scenes. So there are two ways. Let's try the traditional for loop. So you have like, call that the declaration, and then the condition less than Krpano dot scene dot count, and then the increment or decrement, and then here we do Krpano.scene.getItem I. So if I do a console log here, it will loop through all the scenes and output them. I'm just gonna add this so that we're sure it gets that we are here. Gets called once. So there it is. Loop through scenes. It outputted the first and then the second. And then you can get anything here like name, scene index, thumb index, or whatever title. So I could output here instead of scene, just the title. This one. There's another way. So since this is JavaScript, I can comment it out using the JavaScript comment. We could do Krpano.scene.getArray.for each. And then here, function, and then like the variable name of the current object. Then again, this is the same already from above. We'll just output like the scene object. Okay, it's not a function. What did I do? Krpano.scene.getArray for each. For each. Okay. And then again, similarly, since this is already an object, I could get the title property. So they're the same. It's just a like different way of writing it. What if we wanted to loop through hotspots? Can do that too. Loop through hotspots. I'm gonna call this again during init. Again, two ways to write it. Like I'm just gonna copy paste this, but instead of scene, this time I'm gonna change it to hotspot. And then I'm gonna call this hotspot. I'm gonna output the hotspot objects. So let's see. There should be two hotspot, 1 and 2. What happened? Okay. I think this is not right. Yeah. What did I do? Loop through hotspot. Does it get called? Okay. Krpano hotspot scene hotspot dot count hotspot dot get item. Oh, let me just pause and figure out what I did wrong. So it turns out it's correct. Yeah, it got, but it wasn't what I expected. I thought it would get these two, but I think during this time, doesn't exist yet. So let's revise this. How do we because it got WebVR. This is the floating hotspot for web for VR that we don't see. So it's getting it. So let's try to call this. I'm gonna try to call this on and onload. Let's see what happens. I think this is more or less what I expect now. So it looped through the hotspots of the current scene, including these two that we don't see. So when you switch to bedroom, it got this hotspot. So actually, initially, I thought it would loop through all the hotspots. including this one. So yeah, it just looped through the hotspot of the current scene. Okay, so that's how it works. Uh, let's add another hotspot here for just an example. Let's do 3 and 4. And here we can do 5 and 6. Okay, so let's switch to the scene, and it does show it 2 and 3, 4, and this should be 1, 5, 6. 1, 5, 6. So what if, we wanted to ignore this? We could do a condition like if hotspot dot style is only equal to this. That's the only time we like show it. This ignores the web VR like buttons. See? So when do you use this? If you want to create custom hotspots and do like an onload, and like every time you switch to a new scene, you do something funky with it, like add stuff. I'm gonna show it to you guys, not here. I think it's too long. Um, for now, just know that it's for that purpose. You can do like an onload hotspot. I mean, loop through the hotspots and do that, whatever code you need to call. I think it's time to like do this part 8, like do an exercise. Okay, let's erase all these. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, clean slate. What do we want to do? Oftentimes, I constantly need to show something per scene. Like you go here, something shows up. Here, something shows up. And let's say you have a tour that's 100 scenes big. It is very hard to do that here, like pasting it here. Or maybe you just need to add like a text here. It's so unmanageable when your tours are so big. And so the way I do it is first, I try to compartmentalize or like create components like the way I showed you here. So this could be like feature 1, feature 2. I'm gonna call it not sure actually what to to show you. Let's say call feature 1 true. So I am gonna create like an include here. Include URL. We're just gonna call it component.xml. But we're gonna only load it when that feature is true. And to do that, you just need to like check this variable. Feature 1 equals true. Sorry. If, okay, I forgot the syntax. Let me check. Okay, after looking through my cheat code, so you can add an if here and do this equals true. So you can have feature toggles now. Let's say you have 10 features. You just do feature 1 true, feature 2 false. So this will include that. So right now we don't have that XML, so we're gonna get an error, I think. Okay. But let's try to do false. Not sure what's gonna happen. If it's still gonna look for the XML. Okay. So yeah, right there you can see that it's working. So let's turn that feature on. And then write a new file called, what we call that? I forgot already. Component.xml. Component.xml. Okay. Krpano. Okay, this is the basic setup. Okay, what are we gonna try to do? So, imagine you had 100 tours. Right now we have 2. And you just want to, let's say, show a button if that button applies for that scene. One way to do that is put it here and here. But the issue with that is you can't animate it. It's like just suddenly appears. I think I'll show a sample. Um, just gonna look for the tour. So this is an example of like how I implemented something similar. So the client wanted like for certain. Okay, this is the old one. I'm sorry. I think it's 3 or 2. Maybe 2. Okay, there you go. So the menu. Like there are certain scenes like where we have to like show a button. And we get to the second floor. It's a different menu. When you go to the bottom floor, it's a different menu. So also when you click certain hotspot, it loads that menu. So I think I'll make a tutorial about how to do this carousel later on. But for now, the idea is you have a button that slides up and down whenever it's applicable to that scene. Okay, let's do that. That's the exercise we're gonna try to do. So here, let's okay. Sorry, I'm mumbling. So we have a component. First thing I do is like I create a XML structure where I can like specify which scenes have that component. I'm gonna call it I don't know, component or what button. I'm just gonna stick to that example. I'm gonna call it menu, and I'm gonna name it something scene 1, and then that's it. And then I have I'm not sure if this is the best example, but anyway, I'm gonna list the scenes here that is like has that menu. Okay, so for now, I'm gonna make it appear on both scenes. Okay. So this could be later on, like let's say you had 10 restaurants. This could be menu 2. And this could be applicable to only to bedroom. This could be applicable to living room. So, yeah, the XML looks like that. This could have some additional attributes like maybe URL. So, what image do you get? Like img, menu1.jpg, something like that. It could be anything. It's up to you to use it as you wish. But I think what we just need to do right now is just how do we like set the values programmatically. Okay, so we have this. What does this do? Doesn't do anything. I think I'm just gonna split my screen now for easy viewing. So it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. This is where events is gonna go in. So like I said, it's like you want your virtual tour to be in components, and I don't wanna like hard code anything. So we could add an event here and name it menu events. And then on keep true. Always do that. And on new pano, we need to do something, and that is toggle the menu. So I'm gonna do an action again. Action name and call it toggle menu. And yeah, we do the JavaScript see data. Okay, I'm just copying pasting from console.log toggle menu. So without messing up tour.xml, we can do a like event and call it there. Oh, console.log. Why? Type JavaScript, stupid. Refresh. Toggle menu. Okay, toggle menu. So, we still haven't done anything here. What we need to do is like run a code that instantiates, like reading this. I am actually reading my cheat code. So first thing we need to do, is create an action that is run, autoruns on preinit. Init menu, I'm gonna call it. And then, we're gonna loop through this group of XML we just did. So I'm gonna call it menus. Is there such a word? Menus. Okay, menus. Krpano.get. And then I'm gonna get menu. Yeah, I don't think there's menu. Let's see, console.log. Let's see if we are able to get this object. Yep, we are able to get it. Count is 1. What does that mean? Because we only have 1. Let's say we had another one here too. That is gonna become 2. Okay. But how are we gonna get the children? I'll show you. Okay, we are getting a menu. Okay, for the sake of this example, I'm gonna create 2. So we have 2 menus, menu 1 and menu 2. What I'm gonna do is loop through the scenes. And to do that, I'm gonna do the usual loop menu dot count, and then so I'm gonna loop through this and this. Let menu object menu dot get item. This was similar to the scene and hotspot loop. So we should be able to show the object here. Let's see if this is correct. Okay, it's working. And then we're gonna get the child scenes per menu. So this is the menu, and then it's children. Oh, it has children scene. We're gonna create another loop here. Let's gonna call this J. Change the variables to J. And then this is how to get the children. Menu.scene.count. So whatever this is, this should be this one. And then from here, we can to let scene equals menu object that scene that get item J. Console.log scene. So I'm gonna out the name here. The same here. That count. Okay, what did I do wrong? Menu object. Sorry. Okay. So we are able like to loop through it. So if we had more scenes here. I should be able to see that under menu 1. See. So we're looping through this and also the children. So what are we trying to do? Well, we're just trying to, well, supposedly make our lives easier. But in this case, because the virtual tour is so small, like, it's not really making our lives simple. But I'm gonna set per scene. Let's say I wanted this URL to be set per scene. So the easy way, or, well, the easy way, if it was just a short tour, is just add it here. Menu URL, because like that. Right? Or menu underscore URL. And then you're done. But as I mentioned, there are cases, something like that. But we don't want to do it this way because I don't want to like mess up my main tour.xml. So that's why we're doing it programmatically through component. So we're gonna call this menu URL. And then I'm gonna call set. Right? And then assign it to the scene, like whatever this is. So that would be scene dot name, and then we're gonna set it to menu URL, and then here menu, we can get it here like from this object. So this one is this one, right? And we do menu URL. So does it do anything? Because it's just setting something, right? So we set. So since we have toggle menu, so this is run preinit before anything else. So now we have in toggle menu, we should be able to get the menu URL per scene. So krpano.get scene xml.scene, and then get it menu URL, and then do a console.log again menu URL. Okay, we did something wrong. Let me just debug. Okay, where did I go wrong? Well, this is wrong because menu is getting all of these objects. It should be from here, menu object. So this gets that and sets it to the scene. So, okay, right now, let's switch. So as you can see, when you do a toggle, it is able to get like the menu URL assigned to the object. So now, what's next? Well, we can add the JPEG somewhere and just show it for this example, or maybe slide up a button that shows that. Okay, let me just. I did not prepare. I will put some code. I'll pause for now. Okay, I reviewed my code First thing we'll do. First thing. How many steps are we already? Well, we add a button here and call it menu. To do that, we do a layer. Name. So button menu. And then keep equals true. And then assign a x0 and a y value, maybe 200. HTML would be menu. And then align bottom. What does this do? Let's see. Doesn't do anything. I think we need BG color. Red. BG alpha. Okay, it's still not showing. Keep true. Okay, let me just pause and figure out. Okay, I forgot the type. So type needs to go first. Type text. And then let's see if this works. Okay, this work. Yeah, it doesn't look pretty, but yeah, there's the menu. We could add some padding. Maybe 20. Like a round edge. BG round edge 4. Okay, looks like a button now. We could add some CSS. I think this is gonna work. Okay, so it's a button. Yeah, so what do you do? We slide this thing up whenever it's applicable to the scene. So initially, I'm gonna do a negative 200 maybe. So it's gone. So the button is here. The button is under here. And we want to tween it up whenever like it's applicable. So I am gonna comment this out. So the button is just gonna appear for the living room. So to toggle the menu, we are gonna first get the current scene, and if it's equal to, well, if it is it has a menu URL, then we're gonna show it. Okay. So if menu URL, well, let's do consolelog first, and let's see which has a menu URL. Okay. We know that it only has, this one has that. So if menu URL is not equal null, what are we gonna do? Oh, we are gonna slide up the button. We can do Krpano.call. We do a tween. So first, just figure out the tween code first. Tween. And then what? Layer. Button menu. .y. What was that initially? 200. 200. This is the code I use most of the time for tweening stuff. Is out expo, and like this is like the timing. And then I'm just gonna do this, so it should slide up. Oop. Okay, so it's it did slide up, but we didn't see it happen like that. Okay. We should have an else here to do the opposite, like tween it away, hide it. Button y becomes negative 2. Okay, let's try this. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, so I'm not sure if this was the best example. So it does well. We can add the on click here and show like the menu JPEG. But I'm feeling lazy now. But I think the best way to show you how this is useful is, let's say you had more scenes, right? I'm just gonna call this 3, 4, 5, up to 100 maybe, right? And then 50 of them has the menu, right? It's gonna be like tedious to type all of them. So here we're just gonna show which ones has those. So it hides here because it doesn't have the menu, and here on it shows. So maybe if I remove this, it will disappear on that. Oop. I guess before we go, we could add an on click here. We can change the on click behavior and just show the. I'm thinking. Just show the menu URL, I think. Let's see. I think the best way to do this is whenever the menu URL is not null, we can set a linked URL to the button. So layer here, button menu. And then, that menu. Set link menu maybe. And then that would be menu URL. And if it's otherwise, we're gonna erase it. Then we can add an on click here. And then whenever you click it, it just like gets the value of menu URL, link menu. Let's try that. Oop, menu 1 doesn't appear. Menu 1, menu 1. So what if, doesn't show, like that wasn't the best example. Let's do a menu 2 here. Menu 2. And for that, so here, menu 1, this becomes menu 2. And it hides. So, yeah. I'm sorry if I confused you. But basically, you can do whatever you want with the menu. Like here, you can add on click to show a pop-up or like a gallery. And you can change whatever values here instead of like going through the long list of scenes. That was long. I've been talking for an hour. I hope you learned something. I wasn't also quite sure how to teach this, but I hope it was useful. I'll try to go further in another video, like useful stuff, because this is not really useful. I'm just showing a button. But we use JavaScript. That's it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you understood me. Thanks. Bye.